What going on, everybody? David Mitchell here. Voice of Autism, episode 84. We'll be right back. Real quick. Crazy weather warm day, or particularly stormy day, so yeah. But yeah, one of those days. Okay guys, I'm back. Sorry about that, I had to check something. So, you rub my hands on. It wouldn't make that noise, but yeah. Today is a rainy day. So yeah, or technically it's stormy day. By the middle of the day, it looked very sunny and clear. Not saying about living here in South Carolina. The weather changed a lot. But yeah. And I already ate dinner. But yeah. You guys are probably wondering why I'm wearing a button-up shirt. Not because I was doing some pictures earlier. And but today, they're probably going to go to Inca magazine. Because I'm doing something big. And let's just say that might be something big in my life. Right there, but yeah. Also, me and my lovely fiance, Valbaria, we're doing great. And something I've been doing, but yeah. And also, I got a good amount of stuff to talk about today, but it's gonna be a little tricky because, let's say, Jeff and I wanted to respawn, right, on Facebook today. But yeah. Let me check. Because something I've been up. But yeah. Let me check if I'm able to go on there. Nope. Like we're gonna have to do it the long way around. But yeah, it's a rainy day out, but yeah, today I was able to get a good amount of rail painting done. So yeah, great, but it was very hot yesterday. But I got 4 trains on video. Or not 4 and 5, sorry about it guys. But yeah. Feeling a little tired a little bit, but that dog's playing, but great thing is that I was doing a bio-doc room, can't remember what it's called, about myself. I sent it to my fiance was to get it about me, and I sent the artwork and pictures that I want to probably put in a magazine with. We'll see who get put in it, but only a matter of time to see, but who knows, but yeah. But hit a magazine, and if I do end up in it, it'll be the first time ever that I'm in a magazine. But yeah. And it's for Inca. I have the organization that the group that I'm part of down in script down below if you want to go to their website too. Here's something interesting from a friend of mine. Then I'm going here, first scene, go.
Okay, nothing nothing to do with autism, but let's just say that I grew up with this. I was born on January 12th, 1996.
Ugh, I don't know what the problem with it today, but it's been updating a lot recently. If you guys don't know, I don't know why, but it's been pretty weird. Let me check if it do that with the Argene too. Well, I get it in, but I got them serious to talk about first, and that I think we need to hear about. That need to change. But yeah. And September 23rd to the 22nd, 2019, in one of the Inca Festival scene in Mexico, where I'll be in California by then. But this one will be in Mexico, with it crazy. But yeah, I'll probably be going to the run that I have in California. But crazy. I can't believe that. The year been going by that quick. But what I'm trying to say is that some stuff need to be worked on. Because I am planning that big move. And here, Jane, I'll have a sub pack, but I'll be going to California ahead. My mom then will have stuff being shipped after I'm there. So, I'm going to be bringing some stuff. My electronics I'll be bringing with me. And clothes, cleaning, some other stuff, but some of the stuff will be going by shipping it. So, yeah. Wait a minute. But, yeah. Ooh, and I'm feeling a little full, too. But, with that scene, like, I'm trying to remember, it called a biography or something, where you write about yourself or something. Well, I'm probably did, but in a way, but it's probably going to be for a magazine. And before we do, what my fiance said to me about it, they got to go up to it first. I gotta go up. Up. Did it from my fiance, and didn't know that in my first time doing a jitsu. Because
Speaking of Anka nominations, God has called me and touched my heart that was resonated with alarming reminder that I would love to nominate you for that. However, I need your high resolution of your photo to be posted for Anka magazine, and also, I need your profile written in a document format, Ms. Word format if that's better, plus may I ask your best photo of your artwork. Since I'll be nominate you for the visual arts category, or I'll get those best artworks if that's the case. I hope this helps you. If you cannot post your profile bio, then you can post it in a message form, you know what I mean?
that was from my fiance, Val. And I'm sorry that the little thing right here is down in that way. I don't know why, but that just happened now. Like, it's so odd. I don't know why. Like, I don't know why, but So odd. Hmm. Pretty odd in a way, and I don't know why. But I think it'll update it because before I started live stream, it told me that something was updating. I did not look at the query, but now I know. If you guys know what I mean. Here's a band that you guys know.
In this world, there will always be people that don't understand and don't like you. Maybe it's someone you met at work or school. Maybe it's a parent using abusive MMS treatments to try and cure their child of autism. Maybe it's an anti-vaxxer that would rather their child catch a potentially deadly and entirely preventable disease because they believe quacks and pseudoscience above facts. Maybe it's an allistic person that simply mistook your anxiety for rudeness. There are people like that. I am not denying it, but there are also people like me that are trying to change the world. If my page changes one person's mind, I've succeeded, and I already know that I have helped more than one person understand what we are really about. I'm not some fluffy little token autistic for allistics to use as inspiration porn. I'm real, I'm honest, and I am making a difference, even if it's just small, and that's all that matters. You can tell me it won't work, or that I'm just one person, or you can support me and the other advocates in our community, or you can start your own changes. It's up to you. Sit by and let your hopeless self-fulfilling prophecy come to fruition, or be the change that seems so impossible to achieve.
Exactly, we are to change. If we keep it up, we will change everything. But yeah.
Announcing Speaker No 5 asterisk asterisk asterisk, Melissa Murphy. Born to an Irish mother and a Turkish father, Melissa Murphy has always felt like an outsider. The true extent of her differences became apparent to her in her 30s when she realized she was autistic. Her passion for reading and musing about autism led her to start a blog www.autisticbra.wordpress.com and to connect with other autistic people in Ireland and worldwide. Having taught herself to read before the age of 4, Melissa is a committed and lifelong bookworm with a passion for books about autism. Though she's also known for reading everything from the backs to cereal boxes to instruction manuals and even telephone books back when those things still existed. When she's not busy reading, she can be found pottering about in her garden, playing video games with her 2 autistic children, ranting to her husband about all things autism related, walking her dog, or messing about on boats. Melissa will be presenting on authoring autism alongside 8 other amazing presenters for Ireland's All Autistic Conference. Tickets on sale here. You are.
But yeah. Crazy.
Autisticbra, menu, ADAR, Dune, you don't look autistic. Those dreaded words that so many of us have heard. And the quick retort, either out loud or more commonly in our heads, autistic people don't have a look. Or do they? I find that though there isn't a discernible look, it's easy enough to pick out autistic people in a crowd. Some people have dubbed this ability ADAR, which I think is a catchy way to describe it. I have no idea what it is. It's not a sixth sense in that I believe you can develop it. It's more about being clued into the subtle signs that someone is autistic. To the untrained eye, because they don't exhibit BS superficial, stereotypical, autistic behavior. A lot of autistic people get that aforementioned, dreaded phrase hurled at them. But they do actually look autistic if you know what you're looking for. It may be a subtle flap of a hand, a surreptitious stim, a certain way with words, a way of sitting or walking. These were my thoughts last night when I attended a mixed group of autistics and non-autistics, adults and children. I mentally said to myself, this person is autistic, that one isn't, with utter confidence that I was right. My ADAR was switched on. I often amuse myself with my ADAR, picking out random strangers and imagining becoming friends with them. I'd never approach them though. What could I possibly say? Hey, I know you're autistic even if you yourself haven't figured it out yet. Hey, your mask slipped. That's not going to happen. Some of these people are parents of autistic people. I want to say the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, hint hint, but I don't. Hopefully they will eventually come to realize that they are autistic. And maybe if the more subtle features of the autistic look were more widely known, it wouldn't take them as long. Not every autistic person is obvious. Some naturally display more subtle features. A lot of us work very hard to hide, to mask, to suppress things. But if you look very closely, really observe us, you will see our true autistic natures. I do believe we always give it away eventually, and ADAR helps us find each other.
Here, Jane. Autism don't have a look. Really, it don't. For the people who think it do, you have a problem. And I really do mean it. Here's my point. Autism don't have a look. It, it don't make it justifiable to brand or target people because of how they act or look. So, yeah, those people said you don't look autistic, you need to keep your mouth shut and keep to yourself if you say that. But people like that need to get kicked to their butt. But yeah.
My contribution at yesterday's conference in Paris 14 about detecting the early signs of autism. I wanted to know if actually autistic advices are given in your documentary material. I ask this because I felt a bit uneasy by some details screened in this documentary. It appears that all that what was said was obviously things that wouldn't be said if the lane references were autistic adults themselves. The only place that was given for autistics was as an analysis piece by NT Insight with all the biases attributed to such subjective insight. There were only autistic toddlers on screen, and about one of these kids, which I believe his name was Ethan and was 5 years old. What he would think about all this going around him without his opinion asked on the matter to determine whether or not this is good for him. I felt he was embarrassed at times, particularly in scenes showing his private moments. What about the issues raised about consent in this doc? I'm asking this because, if the child is inadvertently, though, at an early age that his emotion don't matter and that he has to express, in a socially appropriate way his enthusiasm about something painful to him, on the long term, he would become an easy prey for sexual predators or abusers
true.
as he wouldn't know about his rights for consent and body boundaries.
That's true. And it's in a bad method to people who are autistic on the autism spectrum. And what's he talking about? ABA therapy. Well, I'd say it wrong and disgusting. I went through it myself, and here, Gene. Surprisingly, I made it through, and shockingly, I it crazy, but yeah. ABA therapy, well, hell. And I would never put my kids through it if I have any.
Also, the mom's quote that was echoed with the dramatic music during the opening credit. When we learned about our child diagnosis, our world crumbled down. I'm asking you, what the child would think about being perceived as such? Taking into account the sad fact that disability in its whole is widely seen as a burden, how such quote would impact the kid's self-esteem. This point on consent, sexual abuse and being seen as a burden was met by a general state of shock I've created in the audience, as I believe they began to reflect in depth about something they obviously didn't thought about. Some tried to deviate the embarrassment the public felt by reassuring them all the people here were okay with being filmed. This is how you attempt to appease someone's emotions, by telling them what they want to hear, which is different from what could actually have taken place. Anyways, the interaction was neat and productive.
Oh, I would have jammed up, told them I'm autistic. You don't. That's not how all will act. You need to stop trying to make it look like autistic is a tragedy and all that. People like that disgust the living hell out of me. Just because that and people who do that are murder moms. They're disgusting as hell. But yeah.
A statement, and my personal opinion, on the current thing going on with
Did it from a
autistic
friend of
pride I
mine.
have seen in some groups on here, and mainly on Twitter. Let me start by saying, I am number bisexual, and I am number autistic. These are two things about myself that I did not learn about until recently, and I am still learning about it within myself as time goes on. I did not realize I was bisexual until a few years ago, and only got my autism diagnosis earlier this year, alongside my wife. Autistic pride was created as something for everyone who is autistic, regardless of anything. I understand the want, and even need, for there to be a separation for LGBT plus autistic pride, and an all-inclusive autistic pride. Twainbo themselves created a flag specifically for LGBT plus autistic pride, but there are many things to take into consideration. Autistic pride has also been where it has been for the past 15 years. And while there is a growing amount of people who either want it to be separated or exclusive, this is not something that can or should be done on Twitter or maybe even Facebook, with the voices of barely anyone, when it comes to the amount of actually autistic people in the world. Right now, as we speak, there is a group of people who are doing what they can to dismantle autistic pride completely, to dismantle neurodiversity and the neurodiversity movement, to make it look like some kind of cult or derangement. To cause us to attack one another, divide us, make us look unhinged or insane. This fighting started a few days ago, but hit a tipping point today, on Autistic Pride Day itself. So, not knowing the origin of things and the perspective of things, I did what I always do. I researched, I reached out, and I spoke to people. I spoke to the people who created Autistic Pride, talked to them to find out why they chose that day, that week, and that month. They spoke the truth in their words, which some of you have seen on Twitter. Autistic Pride was chosen on June 18th, back in 2004, because the youngest member's birthday was that day, and it was the only week where there wasn't any real interference with big events. Pride Month had not caught on that well yet at that time, and Transgender Pride Month, big events. Pride Month had not caught on that.
Maybe I know I'm bisexual. My mom don't know, but I am bisexual. And yet my mom don't went into my YouTube channel. She don't want YouTube, so yeah.
Pride Month had not caught on that well yet at that time, either. The earliest USA federal recognition of gay pride was in 1999, signed into a proclamation by Bill Clinton. Proclamation No. 7203 stated as gay and lesbian Pride Month, but not again recognized federally until 2009, with another proclamation, Proclamation No. 8387, by Barack Obama, stated as lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgender Pride Month. The creators of Autistic Pride have admitted, literally yesterday, but also years ago to news articles, that they drew inspiration from Pride itself, and the people who created it are LGBT plus themselves. The logo itself was created as the neurodiversity logo, using a rainbow gradient, specifically to show the autistic spectrum. The creators do not want it to change. They don't want to exclude anyone. The person whose birthday that was itself, tried reaching out to those speaking of the above issue, URL. Along with the founders of A Space for Freedom being involved in that conversation as well. Their tweets are there, so I will let you be the deciders of what you make of their standpoints, and it's easier than making this post a giant list of quotations. I then also decided to read.
Your kicker, Autism Speak is behind trying to ban Autistic Pride. They don't like it, Autism Speak, they don't like this stuff. They are trying to get rid of it. With all the stuff that is happening and with them trying to... I know with Autism Speak, because they do have people that they hired to do shit like this. So, yeah. We're on to Autism Speak. We don't know what you're trying to do. You're trying to get rid of to jig it up. We know what you're trying to do. We're not fucking falling for it. We were not born yesterday. So, yeah. And they're trying to use bisexual people in the group, trying to tear their group apart by using this stuff. It's not going to work. It's going to backfire. Sure, it's a little air bubble, but it's going to backfire. Trying to use people in our own group, trying to mess stuff up to pull the group apart, and to pull the neurodiversity movement apart and all that, it's not going to work. We're only going to get stronger. We know what you're trying to do. So now you try.
I then also decided to reach out to a dear friend of mine and my wife's, Larry Nelson. Larry was involved big time with LGBT pride from its early stages, as Wikipedia itself can tell you if you look into pride. As a side note, Larry is honestly the most kind-hearted soul I have ever met, and I love him dearly. I sent him a link to what was going on and directly asked him his opinion on autistic pride being during the same time as Pride Month, as he did not reply via Twitter, and I am not one to post messages of his on here. I will instead copy and paste his standpoint. I have no problems with it because there are other events during the month of June, so why not this one? I then told that word for word to someone that was disagreeing with having it during Pride Month, and their reply, I was honestly at a loss for words and will let it speak for itself. I have archived the tweet in case it is deleted. URL. Both of them don't want to continue the convo, which is why I uncaped them. Just thought I'd clarify their points. I'd also caution you against overblowing the opinion of one person. Just BC they helped organize the first Pride celebration. Overblowing the opinion of one person, just because they helped organize the first Pride celebration. Larry has been active in Pride since his first attendance, and still does so much to this very day, and to reply that way, to someone who has done so much for the very community this person is speaking for, and part of, is downright disrespectful. So, the founders of Autistic Pride Day do not want to change it, and someone who took part in the foundation of Pride itself and helps keep it running to this day has no issue in it, but we should ignore that completely. We should not put stock in it. Why? Because you disagree with it? To those who disagreed with me, or others, to those who felt attacked or persecuted. I am not saying your feelings or thoughts are invalid. In fact, I understand it and see where you are coming from. I honestly do, and I am so sorry you feel that way, and have been made to feel that way by the comments made to you. You do not deserve to be treated with disrespect, or ignored, or be spoken over in any way, by anyone, and I am wholeheartedly sorry. That is what happened. Changing Autistic Pride Day affects every single autistic on this planet. Not just those who are LGBT+, but those who are still discovering themselves, those who are unsure, and yes, those who are heterosexual, and cisgendered as well, but everyone it affects is autistic. And correct me if I am wrong, but we as autistics have a bit of an issue when it comes to changing long-standing routine, do we not? My personal opinion on this, after speaking with many people, listening to all sides, and the only thing I think that would solve this, are these two following ideas. Keep Autistic Pride how it is, and if you want your own hosted event to be LGBT+ only, then make it so and make it known. And / or create an Autistic Pride Day for LGBT+ only, separate from the current one on June 18th. Keep the current one all-inclusive, and make the new one for LGBT only, and make it the week of Pride itself, the week of the 28th. Why? If you are reading this, and you are LGBT+, you already know why. If you aren't, or do not, the Stonewall riots began in the early morning of June 28, 1969. Do your research if you do not know about this. It is important history. I understand needing a separate space, apart from everyone. I really do. But there are solutions to this problem that make everyone involved happy, and at the least, do not add to suffering that has already happened. Do not attack your fellow autistics in this matter. Do not divide us more. Use this situation, this moment, to bring us closer together, have us agree more, and stand up against those that want to cure us, to get rid of us, to silence us. Stand.
People who want to silence us, get rid of, are part of Autism Seek and our organization that do not like and they want to use it to break it apart where they can have advantage. It's not going to work. It's not.
Oh my god.
Not my mom.
Okay.
But yeah.
Alright, are you gonna eat this?
Stand your ground against those that spout homophobia or transphobia, or anyone attacking you for who you are. Stand your ground against someone bigoted or full of hatred. But remember what we are all fighting against in this situation, what we are all fighting for, and remember we are all part of the same family. We are all autistic, and we are all proud.
That is true. That is true. And people are trying to use our parts of our minority against it. It's not going to work. It's going to backfire. Nazi tried doing it to the Jew. Backfired. And also, oh, it looked crazy, but if you did think about it, glad that World War II one by us, the American, because it would have been bad if the Nazi one or Japanese. That would have been very bad. We're glad that did not happen. And sorry about it, I am a history buff when it comes to stuff like that, so yeah. History is something I'm interested in. But yeah. Now here's something that got me really grinding my gear and ticked off. That we need to stop.
TW, child harm, child death. Edit this photo the article uses is of a restraint training with 2 adults. Ask, does anyone have the link to the video where an older preteen or teen autistic boy is cowering in a school cubby and the aide comes after him and he is soon after in a restraint hold? Please reply. I think it shows very well to the public how adults are the ones who often escalate instances to get to the point of restraint. I don't know if that's what happened here, but when the general population hears that an autistic person was restrained because they were violent, they do not sympathize with the autistic person, especially with the negative stereotypes and messaging about autistic people out there. It's not just about learning to handle a violent person differently. Often the person was never violent, and it's more like a cover-up, or the person was pushed repeatedly to a place they were acting out. URL.
That's true. They literally tried to make it justifiable. I ain't say it, if I were a government, I would give them a reason to fear me when they abuse autistic people. I would put an investigation in, see who is in fault. Like, the people who abuse autistic will probably fear me because they know I would get on to them. And how they get away with their stuff, they would not be getting away with under me if I were governor. Or not governor, if I were a president or a senator. They would not be getting away with them type of things. They would be going to jail under me if I was, but this stuff get me ticked off and pissed off. That stuff like this is still happening. How people deliberately do stuff like this to autistic people like us and make it look like we are the bad guy when it's really them. It is disgusting as hell.
Autistic boy dies after school forcibly restrains him. December 7, 2018 by Katie Joy. Extremely disheartening news is coming out of California involving the death of a 13-year-old autistic boy. The boy died after being physically restrained at Guiding Hand School in El Dorado, California. Following the death of the child, the California Department of Education suspended the school's license. The death of the child calls into question the use of physical force when dealing with troubling behavior. According to a report in the Sacramento Bee, the incident happened last week. Staff at Guiding Hand School, a school for children with disabilities, used the prone restraint on the child after he became violent. The prone restraint is a controversial technique that is used to subdue individuals that are acting violently. Individuals are placed face down and are...
If I was the president or a senator, I would simply ban that. Saying if you do that to autistic, you're going to jail for a long time. Oh, I would have definitely made it where they would learn their lesson.
Individuals are placed face down and are unable to move. Police say the child became unresponsive after an hour in the restraint. When the child became unresponsive, the staff attempted CPR and called for medical assistance. When paramedics arrived, authorities transferred him to a local hospital. The hospital transferred the child to UC Davis Medical Center. While under care at UC Davis, the child died from his injuries. Authorities did not say when he died but found out about the death on November 30th. Staff said the boy was severely autistic and acting violently. While media outlets...
That would be a lie. They always say that when it's their fault to cover up. If I was the government, or the senator or president, I'll just, not buying it. We're doing an investigation under you. And if we find out that you did that on purpose, you're going to jail. There's no way getting out of it. The one, they need to learn that they cannot use fear against us. They need to back off. They need to realize that we're a minority, not a disease. They need to stop torturing us. Stuff like that need to end. And I mean it. It didn't need to stop. The Jews went through it. African Americans went through it. And we're going through it. Other people on the autism spectrum are going through the crap, and it needs to stop. It needs to end.
While media outlets say the child was 13 years old and 6 feet tall and weighed 280 lbs, the mother of the child said online that her son was only 5'4" and turned 13 only 2 weeks ago. According to the school's website, Guiding Hands provides special education and services to children with special needs. The school serves grades K-12, and there are 167 students enrolled. There is only 16 staff at the facility. In the report from the Sacramento Bee, they point out that Guiding Hands doesn't have the best track record when it comes to using the restraint. Another student, Tracy Lamerson, was physically restrained multiple times between 2002 to 2003. In 2004, Lamerson's mother, Deborah Lamerson, sued the school and Sacramento City Unified School District for using the restraints on her daughter. When the Bee interviewed Tracy and her mother about the events that transpired, the details they provided were disturbing. Tracy said that she had broken her arm on the bus ride to school in the morning. When she arrived at school, she asked to call her mother to get medical help. However, she says the school would not allow her to call her mother. When the school refused to help her, Tracy became agitated and upset. Instead of helping the girl, the staff physically restrained her. While in the restraint, Tracy vomited from being unable to breathe. After she vomited, staff told her to clean up the mess.
Oh, that's where I got ticked off. If I were a cop, I would have come in with handcuffs, boom, poof. You're going to jail, you're going to jail. Take her to the hospital. And they're going to probably say, why are we going to jail? 1, because of what you did to her. 2, you're the despicable, evil type of people that don't deserve to be free. Oh, that would scare the crap out of them, making sure that they don't respect and treat people like crap again. I would probably see people like the arresting. If they have it coming to them, they need to quit. It's up that we need to start standing up against and tell them enough is enough. We're not going to keep putting up with it. And I mean it. It needs to end. And I mean it.
Details of the lawsuit ruling are not public. However, the school became a private institution shortly after the lawsuit settled.
One reason why? Because Autism Speak, I did a little research on this play. This is another place, just like the Chilton Weinberg Center, that they have at EdSet. Yes, Autism Speak have this play at EdSet. So, they are the ones who are paying the people. And now that they got their license taken, that one website that they have used against us. What I've been saying, Autism Speak, trying to get rid of us, trying to torture us, trying to do everything that they can to make it hard for us. But here's the thing, that's not going to happen. It's going to backfire on you, and when it do, you're going to be paying all the crime that you have done. And I mean it.
Prone restraint is a technique used to immobilize a child following violent or unruly behavior. In the method, a child lays on the floor with their face down. Trained staff force a child to the floor. Once the child is on the ground, the staff, typically 2 to 3 adults, hold down the child's arms and feet to stop them from moving. Critics of the restraint argue the technique impacts the child's ability to breathe correctly. When staff executes the method incorrectly, children are at risk of respiratory failure. Additionally, advocates for children with disabilities say there are more effective methods to disengage a child than physical restraint. Numerous states ban physical restraint of students in school. However, the prone restraint is legal in some parts of California. In 2012, the U.S. Department of Education released policies on the use of physical restraint in schools. The department took specific issue with the use of the prone position. In the document, the U.S. Department of Education said, prone i.e., lying face down restraints or other restraints that restrict breathing should never be used because they can cause serious injury or death. Breathing can also be restricted if loose clothing becomes entangled or tightened, or if the child's face is covered by a staff member's body part, e.g., hand, arm, or torso, or through pressure to the abdomen or chest. Despite recommendations by the Department of Education, the technique is still used and legal in numerous states across the country. 22 states in the country allow educators to use restraints in emergency.
Soccer is one of them states. You get it if you think about it. Here in South Carolina, I seen them actually done it to another student. Yeah, I seen them done it to another student. And now that I'm seeing it, it's not right. It's not right. And I mean it. Stuff like this, they get me mad. It needs to end.
22 states in the country allow educators to use restraints in emergencies, based on the information provided by the U.S. Department of Education on the dangers associated with the prone restraint. States around the country are choosing to disregard the recommendations by using the dangerous technique. Today, a family in California is grieving the loss of their beloved son. His only crime was having a disability that made communication difficult. The death of the young boy should serve as a wake-up call to legislatures around the country that the physical restraint of children in schools should not be allowed.
Yeah. Stuff like this needs to end. And I mean it. That if we don't stop, it's going to keep happening. For people who don't realize, this stuff is bad. It needs to end. And I mean it. That if we don't stop stuff like this, it's going to keep happening. It's up, we need to stand up against Autism enough and enough. Now here's something else that Bob schools that need to stop. That I'm going to.
Today we're doing
Didn't know I don't like ads. They are annoying. I'm not. What the? It's up that to get me ticked off.
Crowd. This is the paper that was in Desiree most likely to get lost in a crowd. This is the paper that was in Desiree Perez's son's end-of-the-year paperwork on the last day of school Friday.
I thought that was very wrong.
Perez says her son has autism. He just finished 6th grade. Perez tells me she went to Normandy Middle School Friday to pick up her son's report card and other paperwork because he was not in school that day. She says the superlative was among the papers the secretary handed her.
I didn't think it was funny. My son didn't find it funny either. He said that why was the teacher giving him this award because he was never lost in the school.
The paper appears to have been signed by a group of teachers, including her sons.
I felt very bad because I don't think this should be given not only to my son, not to any kid, because every kid struggles in school.
When I asked for comment, the New Bedford school spokesman emailed me saying the superintendent is aware of the situation, a full investigation is underway, and the principal was meeting with the parent today. I talked to Perez after that meeting.
He said he was sorry about it. He was asking for me to forgive this incident, and he said that he couldn't do anything about the teachers because they had already left for vacation.
And if they after that vacation, they would probably come back with no job. And I really do mean it. Because stuff like that right there disgusted the hell out of me too. Because if you guys don't realize that is discrimination right there against people with disability and autism. Look, when I was in 6th grade, I never got lost. And that middle school, he was in his, because he was a 6th grader, his first year of middle school, meaning he was 12 or 11, because if you guys don't know, I started middle school when I was 11. I graduated from middle school when I was 13. And first week of high school, I was 13. And then second week, all the way into my first year of high school, I was 14. But so, yeah. But this did something that I don't think is right. I don't think it's funny because it's actually discrimination of somebody with a disability. And it's wrong. It really is. But yeah. It's up that I don't think is right at all. And I really do mean, it's not right to do. It's just wrong. And I mean wrong. Stuff like this, I don't think to be allowed. At all. And I really do mean it. And for people who don't think that way, then they're a problem. Because if you don't stop stuff like this from happening, all the stuff out there will keep on happening to it. You have to take it down one by one. But yeah.
I don't want anyone to ever feel ashamed of being autistic, but the reality is we do. So what do you do when you feel ashamed? You choose pride over shame. Every time. Sarah Jane Harvey. In July 2018, Agony Audi hosted Chester's Autistic Pride event, welcoming peers, friends, and
Here, Jane, I don't feel ashamed of being autistic. I'm proud of it. It's something that I'm not ashamed of. But people out there are making people like us feel ashamed of ourselves. Disgusting, rude people out there. So, yeah, we need to stand up against them and tell them no. No. If you know what I mean.
the autistic community. Autistic Pride looks to Black Pride, looks to LGBT Pride and all the other Pride movements born on the cusp of a civil rights movement. We look to them for strength and to overcome stigmatization. With autistic poetry, musical performances, impromptu stimp dances and speeches being delivered throughout the day. Chester Autistic Pride 2018 aims to showcase the rich diversity that exists.
It was over a year ago.
With autistic poetry, musical performances, impromptu stimp dances and speeches being delivered throughout the day. Chester Autistic Pride 2018 aims to showcase the rich diversity that exists within our autistic community. Delivered by autistic people, for autistic people. Thank you to our incredible performers, speakers and to everyone who helped make this Pride event happen. Want to help fundraise, volunteer, or donate items for next year? Contact aganyadi@gmail.com and let us know how you can help. Thank you to everyone who made Autistic Pride happen. Olivia, Chloe, Astrid, Willow, Caroline, Holloway, Robin, Jax, Robin, Play Swords, Autistic, UK, Starbucks, Chester, Stage Door Cafe, Chester, Dominic, Walsh, Vicky, Beeman, Alexia, Eileen, Adamson, Belinda, Blossom, Sal, Paradise, Chester, Mystery Plays. What do you think? Story House Live, Chris Matheson, Chester MP, Chester Chronicle, National Autistic Society, Cheshire West and Chester Council, Autistic, Not Weird, the Autistic Cooperative, Autistic Pride Alliance, Do I Look Autistic Yet? Lydia XC. Brown, Autistic, Hoya, Autism on the Mighty, Autism with a Side of Fries by Eileen, Mama Fries, Shackley, Your Autism Magazine, Thoughtcast, Asperger's and Autism Community, Autism, Uncensored Artists and Autism.
Yeah, I know what you mean, Tom, and I'm actually live streaming on YouTube right now. Sorry about that. My fellow user friend Tom sent me a message by Messenger with a video attached to it. Oh, and it got Ralph fan in. That what it is. Not from my friend Tom. But yeah. Let's see what the...
Rido, super fat. Rido, I love that. Rido, whip a bat. Rido, playing whack.
Mike. So what walk all life's highways, choose the path my future will take. Design my destiny bold and new. Decisions only I can make. So what will lead to contentment? For no one but me can make that choice. I who have the vision, the dream, but alas, do I have the voice.
Take my hand. Come with me, and we'll fly. Where the bad stuff has no wings to reach us. Where the doubts are gone. Where you're not in pain, and I don't wish I was someone else. A place where we're not seen as broken.
So, what do you do? If you feel ashamed, and you're autistic, and that's not going to change, my loves, I'm sorry, it's not. What do you do?
You turn it into pride. You turn it into pride. You don't let them people get to you. You turn it into pride and turn it something to be powerful. And don't let anybody who is neurotypical, who don't have autism, get to you. You did turn it into pride and use it against them, telling you're bullying and you're fear-mongering and not going to get me. You can't pull me down anymore. Fight back. Tell them enough is enough. We will not stand for it. That's why we are doing what we're doing. Because we want change.
And this event, this is me being desperate. This is me being fed up. Instead of me being ashamed, I don't want my son to be ashamed. I don't want anyone to ever feel ashamed of being autistic, but the reality is, we do. Because we are invisible to each other, and what I mean is when you're diagnosed, when your child is diagnosed, where do you go? Where's the community? Where's the culture? Where is the place for you to practice your autistic identity? Where is the place for you to be genuinely autistic and for it to be accepted?
Exactly.
So what do you do when you're ashamed? You be goddamn proud. You choose pride over
Exactly.
shame. Every time. Every time. This is a
Exactly.
pride where we want to be realistic. Because to be autistic, it is not all songs and dances and poetry. It is hard. It is goddamn hard. But we do get to celebrate. Because I am sick of being ashamed. I am sick of that shame almost taking me away from this world. Because I didn't feel I had a place here. I didn't feel like I could belong. I felt like I burdened everybody. And that everyone's life would be easier if I just went away. That was not true. Okay? And it's not true if you think that. That is a lie that was put there in your head by society and by every single nasty bully. If I ever saw him, I would like to say a word. Because we are stronger together.
That's true.
And with these communities and with these spaces, we create the opportunity to meet. To
That
see each
is
other, to say,
true.
hi, I'm autistic. Are you autistic like me? And for people to not be like, what? Oh, just to be offended because I'm not ashamed. I can say
Exactly.
I'm proud.
I'm proud to
I'm
be
not ashamed. I'm
autistic.
not offended if you think I'm autistic because I am. I am.
You heard that? It's not bad. It's proud to be. It's proud for it to be autistic. It's proud. It's something not to fear. It's potential. It's a gift. Everything. If you did not have a technology and stuff that we have now would not be around if it wasn't for us. We are gifted. We can make a change in the world. Yeah. Just think about it. Don't let people bring you down. You can keep yourself motivated. Never let people bring you down. Let's watch this one. What? Nope. Sorry about the guys' ads again. You gotta know how I feel about ads. You gotta know. Skip.
To me, it means an achievement of a milestone that he's worked for all these years. He has just been so dedicated and focused to trying to doing this. I can't remember a time where he didn't want to go to school. So I was so impressed by that because, we all wake up in the morning and think, there are other things I'd like to do. But he invariably wanted to go to school. It didn't matter which class it was, which professor it was, he was ready to go. So it makes me hopeful for him, but it tells me that he can do a lot. We would not really envision that 15 years ago he would be graduating from college when he was in high school. So it's just such a huge accomplishment. We're delighted for him, and it does represents hope that, okay, maybe in 10 years he'll be doing something we don't envision him doing in 10 years. There have been a number of parents that have told me over the years that he represents hope for them. Because there's a lot of people who are struggling with loved ones who are on the spectrum, and they're not sure what's going to happen next or how well their loved one's going to cope when they see Brian being successful.
Okay, here my team. Reason why they're struggling with all that fear mongering and all that propaganda and our stuff out there that they're using against it. That's the reason why we're struggling.
Just give them hope that there's some things that their children will be able to achieve as well that they can't envision right now.
Sorry, can I promise my goal on getting a college degree? And to I got in my school. This is it.
But here's the thing. If we get rid of all that fearmonger and all that stuff out there that they use against us, then we will be able to make it like it'll be a better world for us. Just think about it. Nothing will change until we start standing up and telling them it's time.
Trevecca student with autism graduates after 12 years. A special perseverance award in his honor. Jessica Bliss, Nashville, Tennessean. Updated 11:30 a.m. At May 10, 2019. 019. 200 hours. Brian Schnell is on the autism spectrum, but still graduated from Trevecca after 12 years. Brian Schnell graduated from Trevecca after 12 years. Brian is on the autism spectrum and with the help of his parents, has pursued his degree all those years. Larry McCormick, L. McCormick at Tennessean.com. The early morning commutes were the hardest. Battling rush hour traffic from Old Hickory for an 8 a.m. class sometimes left father and son frazzled and frantic. But for the last 12 years, Brian Schnell has had one goal in mind: graduate from college, and he couldn't do it alone. Schnell has autism. At 31 years old, he still lives with his parents. He can't care for himself. He can't drive, but he loves to learn. Trevecca student with autism graduates after 12 years. Swipe to view all. View all photos. So several times a week since 2007, Schnell's dad has driven him back and forth to Trevecca Nazarene University as Schnell diligently pushed toward his goal. Earlier this month, he finally got there. Schnell earned his bachelor's degree in sport management, graduating with honors. It's a future they never would have envisioned for a boy who started life with such significant setbacks. A child in need. The baby's white overalls were covered in dirt, and his small body smelled from neglect. It had been 9 days since Jane and Jeff Schnell had returned their foster son to his birth mother's care. In that time, the 1-year-old boy had been shuttled to a Salvation Army shelter and then taken downtown to live under bridge with the other homeless. When the Schnells saw him again, at Nashville General Hospital more than a week later, little Brian was eating green onion potato chips and drinking a giant Coke. He hadn't been bathed. His clothes hadn't even been changed, but his smile was as bright. His large eyes lit up with recognition when they walked in. Brian Schnell graduated from Trevecca on Saturday after 12 years as a student. He is on the autism spectrum and has pursued his degree for show more. Larry McCormick / the Tennessean. On the way home that day, with the boy back in their care, the Schnells drove with the car window down. It was January, but he was so soiled he stunk. The first thing we did was give him a bath, Jane Schnell says with a tender smile. 2 years later, the Schnells officially adopted Brian. He wore a fresh, bright sailor suit and sucked on a Tootsie Roll Pop as the judge gave the order. It seemed the hardest part of Brian's life was behind him, but more challenges were to come. A love for learning undiminished by a difficult diagnosis. Brian has always been fascinated by vehicles. Jeff Schnell jokes that it's because Brian and his birth mom hitchhiked to Tennessee from Modesto, Calif, when he was born. But really, it's more indicative of his diagnosis. Brian Schnell was 7 years old when doctors began to recognize he might be on the spectrum. Sprawled out on the floor in the family physiologist's office, all he wanted to do was watch the wheel spin on a toy truck. For his parents, it was a challenging development for a boy with an already difficult history. There weren't many organizations back then, Jeff Schnell says. There wasn't much help. It was a scramble, but it didn't keep Brian from wanting to learn. Brian attended Genesis Academy, a private nonprofit school for kids with special needs, and teachers went out of their way to accommodate him. Brian Schnell get a hug from his mother Jane before a standing ovation after he graduated from Trevecca on Saturday after 12 years as a show more. Larry McCormick / the Tennessean. He was good at research and games. He loved to read. He spent tons of time at the library, where he would become an expert on his favorite subjects. Spiders one day, dinosaurs the next, but he sometimes...
Jane, I'm not a good reader, but I do heavy research, and I like looking up stuff. It's something I do. A little itching right there. But yeah.
But he sometimes got anxious in the classroom. To help, the school's director built Brian his own small wooden schoolhouse. When Brian was nervous, he would simply climb inside to take tests or find quiet. Learning made him happy. Brian didn't want to graduate with simply a special education certificate. He wanted his high school diploma.
I got screwed over when it came to that.
He wanted his high school diploma. To do that, he had to pass the Gateway Algebra assessment. It was a challenge that almost caused him to quit. Brian failed the math.
But here, they have now changed the law in South Carolina where people who are in resource or special need are able to get their diploma instead of a certificate of completion. But when I went there, I was not able to get it. They put that law in after the year I graduated. So I got screwed over.
Brian failed the math test by 1 point, not once, but twice. He was ready to give up, but then one day, his sister, Alex, sat down at the kitchen table with him and explained the problems in a way he could understand. The third time he took the test, he passed, and with an official high school diploma, Brian had other plans. College. Comfortable and safe. Brian's parents were hesitant. High school was one thing, but a college degree was a big step. Earning the math and science credits alone would be an incredible challenge. We weren't at all certain that this experiment was going to be any more than an experiment, Jeff Schnell says. Still, the Schnells took Brian to visit Vol State, Nashville State Community College, and Trevecca, a Christian university in the heart of Nashville. Brian Schnell gets a fist bump from his father Jeff as he prepares to graduate from Trevecca on Saturday after 12 years as a student. Show more. Larry McCormick / the Tennessean. Which one felt right? Jeff Schnell asked Brian one day last week as they sat together at the same kitchen table where he learned algebra all those years before. Trevecca, Brian says in an excited exhalation. What do you always tell people it made you feel? Jeff asks. Comfortable and safe, Brian says. Seeing that conviction, the Schnells were convinced they needed to try. Trevecca administrators welcomed Brian to campus, and the current university director, Brenda Patterson, became Brian's biggest advocates. Brian wanted to learn about sports, with the goal of becoming an equipment manager. His parents knew it would be a challenge not just for Brian but for the people around him, too. The school also made it clear, if Brian wanted to graduate, he would have to earn it like everyone else. And what did you decide? Jeff asks Brian. You decided you needed a degree, didn't you? He did. If I wanted to graduate, I had to do the school work. In his early semesters on campus, Brian was paired with a Trevecca soccer player who helped show him around. Brian got a position managing equipment for soccer team, and he found a home as a student in the sport management department. At first, Brian's parents helped him pick classes they thought Brian would enjoy: health, computer, sports. He took 1 to 2 classes a semester, but with his special needs, Brian couldn't drive himself. So nearly every day, his dad went to school, too. Together they would take on early morning traffic for 8 a.m. classes. Jeff Schnell would sit in the back of the classroom, sometimes taking notes, or he would wait just outside the door for his son as Brian learned about art history and economics. Eventually, Brian was just a few math and science shy of a degree. Jeff Schnell helps get his son Brian ready for his big day. Brian graduated from Trevecca on Saturday after 12 years as a student. Show more. Larry McCormick / the Tennessean. Brian.
Here, Jane. I'm still working on my driver license. I do have my driver permit, but I'm working on my driver license still. Trust me. Oh, and it is still kind of storming out there, so we'll be here one more some thunder. Then you know the reason why.
Brian did all the same work his classmates did. Jeff jokes that Brian might be the only guy who has ever gone to college and actually read all the assignments. He's pretty literal, Jeff says. If they tell you you are supposed to read it, then you read it. And I did, Brian chimes in. If I wanted to graduate, I had to do the school work. There were a few accommodations. If a paper was coming due, Brian's professors might give him a few weeks advance notice and Brian would write half a page a night for 2 weeks. For essay exams, Brian was sometimes able to write in bullet points. He took all his tests at Trevecca's Center for Leadership, Service and Calling, but he took them alone, without help. A special award. This month, on a Saturday morning in early May, he graduated. Jeff Schnell buttoned the collar of his son's gray polo shirt. He helped Brian into his black cap and gown. He draped the white cords representing an honors achievement around his boy's neck. Then, together, father and son sat in the very front row at Trevecca's commencement convocation. A week earlier, Brian's perseverance inspired the administrators and teachers in the Department of Exercise and Sports Science to establish an annual award in his honor. Brian was the first recipient of the Brian Schnell Perseverance Award. On that Saturday, as Brian's name was called, and he walked across the stage, he was also a recipient of a standing ovation.
But yeah, that what he called defiant or defiant. Going against the odds and making it. But yeah. I was supposed to go to Trident Technical College back in 2017, right after I graduated from high school. But I got screwed over. Now, I done everything, even the ACT, all of it. I done it all. Just to be ready for college. And in the end, I got screwed over because I did not have a diploma. All I had was a certificate of completion. So I kind of got screwed over.
My latest blog post for Autistic Pride Day a day late. CW, bullying. After the start to life I had where I was invalidated and hated and treated like I had no right to exist, to be able to say I am autistic and proud is a pretty amazing thing.
Exactly. We can go again and tell them people that we will not stand for being bullied and pushed around. But yeah. That's one reason why Autistic Pride Day was made. Pride can be for we can be proud of ourselves. and for we can keep motivating. The autism is not despair. It's not a disease. It's neurological. It's in the brain, and it also can be a gift. And it can be a big changer too. Oh, sorry about that. Oh, yeah. My eczema breaking out.
Hard fought and won. What autistic pride means to me. Yenin categorized June 19th, 20,194 minutes. Content warning, bullying. I was diagnosed as autistic in 1994 when I was 20 years old. I was not a person who found their autistic tribe instantly or even quickly. I hated the diagnosis and could not associate it with me, well, outwardly at least. Living as an undiagnosed autistic in a world where there was no appropriate diagnosis, Asperger's, was only included in the DSM of which was released in 1994, the year I was diagnosed. This means I went through school feeling completely alone and isolated. In high school I was the constant target of every bully in the place. The bus ride to and from school was even worse, with the only adult preoccupied with safely driving the bus and...
Okay, here it's saying even middle school and not middle school, but elementary school for me. I was the target of a bully in elementary school. It slowly got wet and wet when I started to get up, and when I made it to my second year of middle school, and it started getting wet and wet in my high school, and it did not stop until my second to last year of high school.
The bus ride to and from school was even worse, with the only adult preoccupied with safely driving the bus and playing his country music cassettes. School for me was like the book Lord Foe the Flies. It never occurred to me to not attend school, so for 6 years I was bullied and invalidated every single day, and often several times a day. One of the most frequent taunts was that I had an intellectual disability. Well, they didn't use that language, but you can imagine. While I was fascinated by autism and felt a connection with the one diagnosed autistic boy at my school, I never wanted to apply the autism diagnosis to myself. When I gained the diagnosis as a young adult, I hated it for 2 reasons. The first was that I felt it was an excuse my parents could make for my poor behavior at the time. But the main reason why I struggled with the label was that I knew it was true, and my understanding of it at the time was that it validated everything the bullies had said. I was filled with self-loathing, and at the time, the autism diagnosis just confirmed my worst fears about myself. I set about being in deep denial for the next 7 years. I would feel highly anxious to even hear the word autism. The point at which I finally accepted my autism was when I was in first year at university. I had started to turn my life around and make some positive changes, one of which was enrolling in university. I discovered for the first time ever that people at university liked me for who I was, not because I was a member of a group. I had spent my teenage and early adult years desperately trying to fit in and belong. I thought that the best way to do this was to align myself with a group with set rules and just follow all the rules. I had been a fundamentalist Christian, a revolutionary socialist, and a criminal, all with the intent to be accepted. It worked, but nobody liked me for who I was just because I agreed with their rules. At university I realized I wasn't a member of any defined group, but I had friends. Coupled with this, I had an episode of mental illness which necessitated some soul-searching and reflection on my part. While doing this, the thought of autism arose again, and this time I thought maybe this is me. You might think I suddenly embraced my autistic identity and wrote a book or something, but I didn't. My acceptance of my autism was gradual and incremental. For the first couple of years, I would view it as something to be spoken about very cautiously, as if telling people would result in them running me out of town. I would only tell people I really trusted. I wasn't ashamed to be autistic, just scared of reprisals and bullying. I went on for a few years, not being particularly out, and then I met someone who changed everything: autistic author and advocate Polly Samuel/Donna Williams. I met Polly at a course and we instantly hit it off. Polly told me I should write my life story. She said it would be helpful for parents of autistic kids who get in trouble with the police and have addiction issues. She said this group was ostracized in parents' circles. Almost immediately, I made the connection that my book would be for my own parents, so I wrote it. It was published, and all of a sudden I had to be out to everyone about my autism. I made the transition well and was soon speaking at events and giving media interviews about autism. It was quite challenging at first, but I worked into it. I remember being terrified I would not be able to answer questions at presentations so set about learning more about autism beyond my own experience. I still didn't instantly find my tribe though. That took a couple more years. It happened when I was at a conference for autistic women and girls. I was in a room full of 100 autistic women, other gender, diverse autistic people, and I knew I had come home. It was magic and I have never looked back. I found my autistic pride that day, and it was a great realization. These days I live and breathe advocacy and autistic pride. My passionate interest is autism advocacy, and I spend a lot of time talking to people about autism. Autistic pride is imbued my every interaction. Sometimes people contact me and are almost apologetic that they are having difficulty embracing their autism. I have no judgment and know that the road to pride is sometimes hard fought and won. Sometimes it is a long journey to autistic pride, but it is a very worthwhile journey to take. Every day of being proud of who I am has been a gift. After the start to life I had where I was invalidated and hated and treated like I had no right to exist, to be able to say I am autistic and proud is a pretty amazing thing. We live in a world which often makes it hard to feel proud to be autistic. Pride can make such a difference and mean the difference between masking and trying to hide who we are and accepting, loving and valuing ourselves. Your sense of pride helps others too. Get your pride on, I say. It makes life better, and autistic people deserve to be proud of who we are.
Yes, we should. We should be proud of who we are. We can change the world and make it better if we just stop people from treating it wrong and to stop the bullying and make a big change. We can do it. But yeah.
Be firmer. You're too soft on them. All they need is a good smack. Back in my day, children were seen and not heard. They need tough love. Stop mollycoddling them. The above statements are ableist and ignorant. On this rather gray Tuesday morning, I just wanted to remind all the parents and caregivers that are struggling that you are doing your best. And that is all you can ever do. Especially as I know there are a lot of autistic and neurodivergent parents out there struggling. Raising an autistic child as an autistic parent sounds like the ideal because you can understand your child better. However, sometimes your needs can clash and that can be extremely difficult to resolve. When I was small, some people thought I was a naughty child. Others thought I was a shy little angel. It wasn't me that playing up. I was a product of my environment. If I felt loved and respected and valued and my needs were met, I did behave well. I had no need to play up. If I was ignored, placed in an uncomfortable sensory environment, or made to feel anxious or shouted or screamed at, I shut down and my behavior was affected. I mean, even the professionals refused to investigate my experiences, so how I could, a child, be expected to understand that I felt stressed because of a bright light or...
Sorry about that live stream cut off. I don't know why, but it just did that. Pretty odd, but something cut it off. Oh dear. I don't know why, but my live stream been acting up lately. Like, just been acting up. I don't know why. Like, literally. And I don't know why I've been doing that. But I think it's because of a little glitch. But yeah. But it's crazy. I don't know why it cut off. But I had a feeling. Let me check. I have odd feeling someone might have called me. Probably what did it, or something it glitching. Because something going on lately. So sorry about that, guys. And I just caught that out of my eye and didn't notice it.
So is this pepperoni? Did you already eat the pepperoni one?
Let me check. Let me check. Jumping ain't right.
Where's the one that didn't have?
Sorry, 80 minutes ago. But jumping at the
Noticed it.
I got on Christian University in the heart of Nashville, Tennessee.
I'm sorry about that guy.
Nashville asked Brian.
Autism did not severe. It's not a disease.
Autistic pride me 994 when I was living diagnosed. This means I went through school feeling completely alone and isolated.
1 minute, guys.
High school, I was the constant target of every bully in
With
the
that
place.
cutoff,
Right,
I don't know why he did
even
that.
worse with the only adult preoccupied with safely driving the bus in.
But I think it was something that interfered with the signal.
Elementary school. I went to school and it started getting wet. High school and it did not.
His country music cassettes. School for me was like the book Lord Tons was that included everything. Like me for who I was just because I agreed with their rules. At university I realized I'm doing this, the thought of autism arose again, and this time I thought maybe this is me. You might think I suddenly embraced my autistic identity and
reason
wrote
why.
it or something, but I did. My acceptance of my autism was gradual and incremental. For the first couple of years, I would view it as something.
Got that out of my mind. Didn't notice it.
Result in them running me out of town. I would only tell people.
Ah, there. Damn it. Sorry about that, guys. It happened again. What the actual hell? I might need to start doing a video around 60 minutes or so. I think that would have caused it. Might be a timer on it. If that case, then I might need to work on it. But yeah. But yeah, let me go back to that part. Because that I need to work on. Because, you know. Because it's up that I don't get it.
I was just because I agreed with their rules. At university, I realized I wasn't a autistic identity and wrote a book or something, but I didn't. My acceptance of my autism was gradual and incremental. For the first couple out, and then I met someone who changed everything. Autistic author and advocate Polly Samuel/Donna Williams. I
There
met
we
Polly
go.
at a course and we instantly hit it off. Polly told me I should write my life story. She said it would be helpful for parents of autistic kids who get in trouble with the police and have addiction issues. She said this group was ostracized in parent circles. Almost immediately, I made the connection that my book would be for my own parents, so I wrote it. It was published and all of a sudden I had to be out to everyone about my autism. I made the transition well and was sued.
And I'm sorry about that cut off. That not only the third, fourth time that happened. Or hope here it is. This is something that I need. When I get 1,000 subscribers and people can keep on subscribing to me, I'll eventually go back to main YouTube app. I would if people can start subscribing to me. That's saying I need a subscriber for I can able to do the original live streaming. So if you guys can do a little help and be kind, please subscribe, watch the video, and please subscribe. I need 1,000 subscribers for I can be able to do the main thing, for I can be able to keep it up. But yeah. So let me get back to, because it did cut me off. With that's something I need.
In them running me out of town. I would only tell people I really trusted. I wasn't ashamed to be autistic, just scared of reprisals and bullying. I went on for a few years, not being particularly out, and then I met someone who changed everything. Autistic author and advocate Polly Samuel/Donna Williams. I met Polly at a course and we instantly hit it off. Polly told me I should write my life story. She said it would be helpful for parents of autistic kids who get in trouble with the police and have addiction issues. She said this group was ostracized in
Exactly.
parent circles. Almost immediately, I made the connection that my book would be for my own parents, so I wrote it. It was published, and all of a sudden I had to be out to everyone about my autism. I made the transition well and was soon speaking at events and giving media interviews about autism. It was quite challenging at first, but I worked into it. I remember being terrified I would not be able to answer questions at presentations so sad about learning more about autism beyond my own experience. I still didn't instantly find my tribe though. That took a couple more years. It happened when I was at a conference for autistic women and girls. I was in a room full of 100 autistic women, other gender, diverse autistic people, and I knew I had come home. It was magic and I have never looked back. I found my autistic pride that day, and it was a great realization. These days I live and breathe advocacy and autistic pride. My passionate interest is autism advocacy, and I spend a lot of time talking to people about autism. Autistic pride is imbued my every interaction. Sometimes people contact me and are almost apologetic that they are having difficulty embracing their autism. I have no judgment and know that the road to pride is sometimes hard fought and won. Sometimes it is a long journey to autistic pride, but it is a very worthwhile journey to take. Every day of being proud of who I am has been a gift. After the start to life I had where I was invalidated and hated and treated like I had no right to exist, to be able to say I am autistic and proud is a pretty amazing thing. We live in a world which often makes it hard to feel proud to be autistic. Pride can make such a difference and mean the difference between masking and trying to hide who we are and accepting, loving and valuing ourselves. Your sense of pride helps others too. Get your pride on, I say. It makes life better, and autistic people deserve to be proud of who we are.
That's true. And if we can drop the bullying, drop discriminating, it would be even better.
Be firmer. You're too soft on them. All they need is a good smack. Back in my day, children were seen and not heard. They need tough love. Stop mollycoddling them. The above statements are ableist and ignorant.
That's
On
true.
this-
It able. That another thing. Able it's up in that race of people do against people who are autistic. So yeah.
The above statements are ableist and ignorant. On this rather gray Tuesday morning, I just wanted to remind all the parents and caregivers that are struggling that you are doing your best, and that is all you can ever do, especially as I know there are a lot of autistic and neurodivergent parents out there struggling. Raising an autistic child as an autistic parent sounds like the ideal because you can understand your child
That's
better.
true.
However, sometimes your needs can clash and that can be extremely difficult to resolve. When I was small, some people thought I was a naughty child. Others thought I was a shy little angel. It wasn't me that playing up. I was a product of my environment. If I felt loved and respected and valued and my needs were met, I did behave well. I had no need to play up. If I was ignored, placed in an uncomfortable sensory environment, or made to feel anxious or shouted or screamed at, I shut down and my behavior was affected. I mean, even the professionals refused to investigate my experiences, so how I could, a child, be expected to understand that I felt stressed because of a bright light or loud noise? So I did what children do, and I expressed my emotions by crying and screaming. If someone responded to me by shouting back or ignoring me, then it would send me into meltdown. I didn't have the luxury of a diagnosis as a child, so parents' evening at school was always fun, especially when I got to secondary school and I had multiple teachers. I knew some would say the best things about me. I also knew that some thought I was the devil incarnate. My childhood was difficult for me, but it would have been 100x worse had my parents not adapted to me and loved me and supported me and respected me. It's true of all children that they won't remember the money you spent, but they'll remember the time you
That's
spent.
true.
As autistic children, we just need a little extra time, without the shouting, without the firmness. Our brains work differently, but just like everyone else, we don't enjoy being shouted at, especially when we are also just doing our best.
Exactly. We still do deal with stuff like that in the autism community. I deal with it with my mom sometimes.
Glowing Star Permanent Paper, signed Happy Autistic Pride Day. Permanent paper signed Glowing Star. Today me and my son celebrated our first trip away together and had our own private, autistic pride picnic on the beach at Margate, Kent. We're hiding and recovering from the world for a while, whilst reflecting on why we're proud of who we are as autistic people. I couldn't be prouder of my son. Proud of the way he learns through experience and exposure to life events. proud of the way he's overcome social anxiety so severe. A year ago, he wouldn't leave the house or go places. His love of trains and budget hotel logos has been our way into getting him out. I'm proud of the love he gives despite of the loneliness he feels. I'm proud he tries to make friends even though it's been so hard this far. I'm proud of his imagination, design, ambition, his hopes and dreams. I'm proud of my son's echolalia and language selection to communicate in his unique way. I'm proud of his emotional growth minus when he understands he's not to blame. He shines. I'm proud of this journey we're taking even now. Our first time away together since I became ill over 2 years ago. I love you so much, Frank. I know that life can feel so hard, but I promise you you're facing it admirably, my boy. I'm so proud to have you by my side. Homeschool # small holiday # break # trip # beach # work break # agonyati # actually autistic # neurodiversity # autistic pride a day # autistic pride number autistic pride 2019 # Ellerslos # parenting # parent # autism parent # autistic mum # autisticson at Margate, Kent.
Now, here, one from my fiance talk about stuff that she's doing. If I can get it to.
Need prayers for my preparations for the B month since this was new to me. Plus, it is more of a conference related and it was all diplomacy oriented. But being passionate on this, I should said to myself that this is not an excuse. I should make this as a motivation and a way of helping people with disabilities as I conquer my fears in this new challenge. I myself was into a new stretch to try it out and give justice to that newfound passion, starting from big stretch of position papers to an easy ride research. Honestly, to me, it was an uncomfortable start. Like singing, diplomacy is not about glamour, but about hard work and passion for leadership and awareness too. God, please help me and save me from the hurtful stresses. Although, I love this challenge and thus was meant for me as I keep moving, keep fighting. Future diplomat.
And from my lovely fiance Velbaria, which will be soon my wife in a couple months. If you guys don't know if you guys have not watched the video, me and Vel will be getting married to October in 3 to 4 months. So technically be in 3 months at net week, like after net week is over with, it'll be 3 months before me and Vel get married, but yeah. But it's crazy. And I hope you guys liked the video. And I hope you guys are having a great weekend, a great summer. And I hope you guys are motivated to keep on helping people, help keep getting our voice out there. And I hope you guys keep on moving, keep on fighting, keep on getting the word out there. I really do hope you guys keep that up. And I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you guys later. Signing out. Bye, guys.